So the only difference here is this is n minus 1 and this is n minus 2. You see the similarity? Do you know why this is n minus 1? Very good. N minus 1 is degree of freedom, and we lost 1 degree of freedom because we estimate x bar, the mean value from the data itself. We estimate the mean value from the data itself. That's why we lost 1 degree of freedom. Here, in this case, we lose 2 degree of freedom because we estimated B0 and B1, 2 parameters that we estimate from the data. B0 and B1 from the data itself. So we lost 2 degree of freedom. So that's why it's n minus 2. That's why it's n minus 2. Okay, the other parameter that we can use to measure how good is our line is the correlation coefficient R. The correlation coefficient R is a parameter to show correlation between y and x. When we say y and x are highly correlated, meaning that we increase x, y also increases. There's a strong correlation between number of hours you study and your grade in the final exam. Is that a true statement? Are you sure? But some people don't study at all, so it's not 1. 0.1. No, maybe greater than that. Maybe 0.9, 0.8. But because there are other factors. For example, whether you have a girlfriend or not, which may affect your grade in the final. Or may, okay, so R is a measure of how good relationship between the 2 variables, concentration and absorbance. If we increase the concentration, the absorbance will increase. So meaning that there's a high correlation between absorbance and concentration. If R equal to 1, meaning there's a perfect correlation. There's no other factors. But usually there are some errors involved, so we can't get a perfect correlation. Probably 0.95, 0.99, for example. So if value of R is high, meaning that all the points will be very close to the straight line. If the value of R is very high, all the points are very probably right on the line. If this is the relationship between y and x, what's the value of R? Negative. If the curve is like that, if we increase x, y will decrease, meaning that we have a negative correlation. It's a bad effect to the observed value. So R can have positive or negative value, and the value of R is between 0 to 1. If Instagram. So if this is the relation between y and x, what's the value of R? 0. Probably around 0. There's no relationship, no correlation between y and x. There's no correlation between y and x. It's just random relation between y and x. So value of R will determine whether there's a strong correlation between the 2 variables. And if there's a perfect correlation, R will be 1. If there's no correlation at all, R will be 0. Okay, there's another parameter which we can use to measure how good is our line is R square. Yeah? R square is a square of R, and, and R is the square root of R square. Okay, by the way, to the statistician, R square is more meaningful than R. R square is more meaningful to describe how good is the line rather than R. We'll see why. And value of R square is between 0 to 1 or so, and or it can be expressed in percentage. Let's say 95%. What does 95% mean? If we say the R square value is 0.95, meaning that 95% of the variation in Y is explained by X. If we say R square is 0.95, 95% of variation in Y, how Y varies, is explained by X. The other 5% is explained by other variable. As I said just now, relationship between your grade and number of hours you study. Let's say 85%. It's not number of girlfriend, though. There are 15% of other factors, maybe 2 or 3 other factors. Yeah? Meaning that we allow for other factors to determine the variation in Y. So that's why in statistics, R square is more meaningful to describe the equation, because we can show how much value of X describe the variation in Y. Again, if R square is 1, meaning that's 100% of the variation in Y is explained by X alone. If it's less than 1, there are other factors that affect the value of Y. Okay. Therefore, it is more meaningful to use R squared than R when we use this equation for prediction purposes. Remember that we plot the straight line curve for prediction purpose, actually. We derive the equation using standard solution. We save the equation. We save the B0 and B1. And then we use this to predict concentration of unknown. So in the case of prediction, we must report R squared instead of R. We must report R squared instead of R. Let's say if we had a value of 0.7 R, what is the R squared? R squared is only 0.49, meaning that less than 50% of the variation in Y is explained by X, meaning that there are other factors that we fail to use to explain the variation in Y. So, although it looks good if you use R, in reality it's not good enough if you use R squared. That's why for prediction purposes, we have to use R squared. We mentioned just now that R square, the R square is a parameter called coefficient of determination. Is the percentage of variance, the percentage of variance that can be accounted for by the equation. Percentage of variation in Y explained by X. Percentage of variation in Y explained by X. So we can go further by doing some analysis of variance to determine whether this statement is true or not. We can go further by doing analysis of variance by looking deeper into the variation in Y and see if we can prove this statement whether it's true or not. Remember that we can use standard deviation to express the precision of single measurement. If we had triplicate measurement, we take the average value and then we report the standard deviation. What is variance? Variance is just the square of standard deviation. So, if this is your standard deviation, square root of xi minus x bar n minus 1 squared, right? If you remove the square root, then you get variance. The variance is just this one. That is your variance. You can add up variance, value of variance, so that you can get total variance. So variance is just square of standard deviation. Okay, we take a look at the observed y value, and let's say we have one value of y here, yi, and this is our space here where y bar is here, Without the regression line, the total variance is different between the y value and y bar.
So what is the difference between y bar and y hat?
Y bar is the average value, y hat is on the line. So if we draw the line here, let's say this is our line. This is y hat, this is y bar. Y bar is the average value of y hat is the value of y exactly on the line, and this is the observed value yi. Difference between y and y bar is the total variance. Total variance, let's see, let's plot. So this is total variance, SST, given by y minus y bar squared, total variance. And by having the regression line, we try to explain the variation in y by using the line. So this is SSR. The term SS is sum squared. Sum squared. SS means sum squared. SST, total sum squared. SSTT means total. Y minus y hat, y minus y bar square. So this is SST. So SSR is y minus y hat squared.
Equal.
Sorry.
Y squared.
And this one here, the remaining variance is unexplained by the regression line. So this is SSE, the error. Am I right? Oh, I got it wrong. This should be SSE. This is SSE. This is SSR. Right. This is SSR, and this is unexplained by the regression line. If this point is exactly on the line, the error will be 0, right? If this point is exactly on the line, meaning that we had 100% correlation, then SSE equal to 0, there's no error term. So the total error is this, y minus y bar. This is the error explained by the regression line, y hat minus y bar squared. And this is unexplained by the line, the error y minus y hat. So we have 3 terms of variance here, SST, SSR, and SSE. SST, SSR, and SSE. As I mentioned just now, the good thing about variance is that we can add up variances. We can sum up 2 or more variance terms like this. SST is equal to, if you look at the diagram, the total variance is equal to SSR plus SSE. The total variance of y is equal to SSR plus SSE. SSR explained by the regression line, SSE is the error term. So the total variance is the sum explained, the variance explained by the equation, and SSE is the unexplained variance, the remaining error. So SST, as I said just now, is total sum of square. SSR, sum of square due to regression, and SSE, the error sum of squares. The larger the SSE value, meaning that the points are very far from the line. So the standard error will be high. And this is the formula for variance again, SST, okay, right? SSR, y hat minus y bar, and SSE, yi minus y hat. This one. Okay, therefore we can define again the standard error just now, the standard error for the equation just now, in terms of variance in y, where S, the standard error, is square root of MSE, where S is square root of MSE. What is MSE? The mean value of standard error. This one divided by n minus 2, divided by n minus 2. Again, n minus 2 is the degree of freedom. So the standard error, as we mentioned just now, the standard error is a parameter to measure how good is the line, can be defined using the variance, which is equal to square root of MSE, where MSE is the mean value of error. And the R square can be defined this way, which is equal to sum square of error due to regression, SSR, divided by total error. SSR divided by SST. If the point is exactly on the line, so we have R square of 1. If the point is exactly on the line, we have R square of 1. So therefore, R square can have value between 0 to 1. The higher the R square value, the better the equation is. And that is why, as I mentioned just now, that statisticians prefer to use R square to describe how good is the line, because it measures how much variation in y is explained by the line. It's a measure of how much variation in y is explained by the line. Any question? Okay, again, R is square root. To the statistician, R is just a square root of R squared. And R can have negative or positive value. The other statistic that we can use is the F value. The F test is another measure of whether the line is significant or not, and F is just as MSR over MSE. Yeah? Remember, when we include M here, mean value. Mean error, error of regression, MSE. This one has degree of freedom 1. This one has degree of freedom n minus 2. The F test is from the statistician named Fisher. It's a very famous statistician. It's okay. We can look up the F test value from the F table. That's the F table. Remember that when we want to compare variance, whether the two variances are equal or not, the two experiments have equal variance, we use F test. So the same F test is used here. This is an example output that you can obtain from Excel. When we do the regression using Excel next time, this will be the output from Excel. It will print out the R value, the R square, and so on, and the analysis of variance, the F value. This is for the data that we used just now, the absorbance versus concentration. The SST is 0.034, so on. Next, we take a look at weighted least square. It's another form of least square method, whereby we give some weightage. We put some weight on certain observation. We put some weight on certain observation. Why are we doing this? Because in the data derived from experiment, there are observations which are more precise than the others. When we deal with experimental data, there are observations which are more precise than the others. And if we know the precision of the data, of the observation, we can increase its weight or its influence on the regression line. Therefore, by using weighted least square, we can give more emphasis on more accurate, more precise data, and less emphasis on the less precise data on the regression line. The equation used is just the same, except that we include the weight here, W, and by including W, we can change the value of W depending on the precision of the data. These are some example of value for W. When W equal to 1, there's no weight. Similar weight for all data. When W equal to 1, there's no weight. All data are treated equally. There's no weightage for any observation. If you want to put emphasis on smaller value, we use 1 over Y as the weightage, as the weight for the observation. But usually we use 1 over S square as the W, as the weightage, where S is the standard deviation for that particular observation. So if S is large, meaning that the data is less precise, the weightage will be small, right? If S is large, less precise data, the weight for that particular data will be small. If S is small, very precise data, the weight will be large. By doing so, we can put greater emphasis on the more precise data, or put more influence on more precise data to the regression line. So the less precise data will be given less influence in determining the line. Otherwise, our line will be determined by less accurate or less precise data. Okay, next we move on to linearization of regression line. Remember that we talked about linear equation from early this morning. So why we want to use linear equation? Because it's easier to deal with straight line curve rather than a curve itself. So whenever we have a relationship between two variables which are not linear, relationship between two variables that are not linear, the first solution is to try to linearize the relation between the two. For example, if we had an exponential function like this, y equal to alpha times exponential of beta xi, for example, if you had a curve like this, or a curve like that, exponential, the first solution to this is to linearize the function. And beta can be negative or positive. As an example, in the radioactive decay of material, for example, we have a function like this, right? Radioactive compound will decay exponentially like this. And we can measure this by linearizing the function to get a straight line curve. Once we get a straight line curve, we can use the same least square method to plot the data. The simplest way is to take the log on each side of the equation. To take the log of each side of the equation, for example, if you had, let's see, what was the equation just now? Y equal to alpha e beta xi. By taking logarithm on both sides of the equation, we can linearize the function to become like this, log n y to log n alpha plus beta x. So this is a linear form of this exponential function, and we can call this y prime. And this one will become b0, and this is b1, right? So this is now a straight line relationship between from the exponential function. Why we have to do this? Because once it is in the linear form, we can use the same statistic, the same parameters used to describe a linear equation to describe our linear function, non-linear function. So if possible, we try to do some linearization so that we can have a linear function from the non-linear equation.